He slammed the front door with such force that the frame quivered. "Dad," he gasped, voice breaking. "We have to leave. Right now." His backpack hung open, one shoelace dragging behind him. His hair clung to his forehead, damp with sweat, as if he'd been running from something out of a nightmare. I lowered my coffee mug slowly. The silence inside the house felt unnatural, thick, heavy, like the calm before a violent storm. "What's happening? Why are you?" "Please," he whispered, cutting me off. "Just trust me." There was something in his eyes. Not just panic, not only fear, but certainty. The kind that comes from seeing too much. I didn't ask again. I simply grabbed his hand. We bolted out the door, down the driveway, straight into the car. He didn't speak as I drove, and I didn't press him. It wasn't just the way he was breathing, like his lungs had only just remembered how. It was that he never once looked back at the house. He sat next to me, shaking. I kept checking the rearview mirror, but there was nothing behind us except growing distance. Eventually, I asked, "What were you running from?" He paused before answering. "She had someone over," he said quietly. "She thought I was at school." His words cut deeper than any scream could have. "She didn't see me," he added. "But I saw them. I knew I had to go." Tears rolled down his cheeks in silence. The kind of crying I remembered from childhood, when boys were taught that pain wasn't meant to be loud. I didn't reach for him. Not yet. Not until I could be sure that what he saw matched what I'd long suspected. The ache I'd carried for months grew sharper. Lingering glances, smiles that felt rehearsed, excuses that came too easily. Still, hearing it from my son broke something in me I hadn't realized was still whole. I pulled into a small hotel lot, paid in cash, and told the receptionist my wife had gone into labor. Once inside the room, I let him sleep. I sat in a chair by the window, lights off, just watching him and thinking. She had no idea he'd come home. No idea he had witnessed anything. That gave me time and power. And I would use both. The next morning, I dropped him off at a nearby diner with pancakes and a promise to return soon. Then I drove home like it was just another normal day. I walked in casually, like I'd forgotten something. She was in the kitchen, smile stretched too wide, robe cinched neatly. I kissed her forehead. "Missed you," I said. She acted like nothing had changed. That was her error. She assumed my silence meant I was in the dark. But I wasn't quiet because I was clueless. I was quiet because I was planning. Over the following 2 weeks, I drifted like a ghost through a house I no longer recognized. One night, she left her phone charging, unlocked. I memorized the number saved as Stacy. It wasn't Stacy. Later, I reviewed her location history. She never noticed. I ordered a paternity test. Not because I doubted the boy, but because I needed to know the full depth of the betrayal. The kid arrived in plain, discreet packaging. She didn't see it. She was too busy grinning over texts she thought I couldn't access. The worst part wasn't the cheating. It was realizing that my son had known before I did. He had carried that secret for me, shielded me from a truth a child should never be burdened with. The envelope was plain, white, unassuming. I opened it slowly, as if it might catch fire in my hands. What it did was worse. Probability of paternity, 0%. I stared at the numbers until they blurred and sharpened again. I let the truth sink in like a blade. No anger. No tears. I brewed tea. That night over dinner, I handed her the envelope. Said nothing. She opened it. Her fork clattered to the floor. What is this?" she asked, voice trembling. "I know," I replied calmly. She began to shake. "It doesn't change anything. He's still your son," she said. I stood up, walked to the sink, and rinsed my hands. "You lied for 10 years, I said quietly. She reached for my arm. I was scared. I didn't. He left, I didn't think. I turned to face her. "No, you did think. You thought every day as I raised him. As I thanked you for giving me this life." She looked like she wanted to apologize. Her mouth moved, but no words came. She knew better. 2 days later, I invited her lover over. Told her I forgave her. Told him I wanted peace. They sat side by side on the couch, hands nearly touching. Then I pressed play. An audio recording of her phone call with Stacy. Her laughter. His promises. Their plans. Her face drained of color. He stared at her like she had rotted before his eyes. Then I handed her a legal document, custody papers. It's already filed, I said. You can try to contest it. Her voice cracked. He's my son. No, I replied. He's mine, even if not by blood. I raised him while you lied. Her lover stood to leave. Coward, she muttered. I opened the door for him. I told him everything, I said, still calm. He doesn't want to see either of you again. The door closed behind him. Final. We left the next day. Just me and my son. New city. Maybe a new name. Didn't matter. In the rearview mirror, the house disappeared like a bad dream we never agreed to have. He asked, was it all fake? I shook my head. No. You were real. That's what counts. He turned to the window, and I watched the tension melt from his shoulders. As for me, I had stopped loving her long before I knew the truth. She played her game with lies. I finished it with truth. And truth, when delivered at the right moment, is the sharpest weapon of all.